Hello guys, how's it going? Screenzilla here, I hope you're all well. So today we're going to be looking a little bit at the Hurricane Mark IV 40mm cannon variant. This plane is... you don't see it that often, in all honesty. It is a good plane, but it's not seen that often. The Mark IV 40mm variant is unlocked after the Tropical. It has a very poor turn time, very poor speed, and overall it's not the best plane in the world. It's hard to fly. Now you can put rockets on this plane. You don't need to have the cannons necessarily. You can have 8 RP3 rockets or carry a couple of bombs, which do improve its ability to turn and climb and things like that. But where's the fun in that? This thing is insane. The 40mm guns are fantastic. The Vickers cannons are brilliant. They have a horrendous lack of ammo though. So let's hop into a replay and see how we go. Okie dokie. We are in realistic mode in a mixed battle. Always fun. So the Mark IV 40mm is pretty beloved in arcade battle. It is a decent plane in arcade because there aren't some of the restrictions. For its BR being a 2.0 plane, this thing has got some of the most firepower for its BR range for sure. But as I said, it is balanced out by the amount of ammunition you hold. Now, you might think this plane is best for ground attacking, and I would say it's decent for ground pounding. You only need to get one shot on target of an armoured car or something like that, and it's gone. It is good in that regard, for sure. But at ground level, you're an easy target. All it takes is for somebody to get behind you and you're screwed. You can't turn fight in this plane. The other issue is boom and zooming. It's kind of hard to do in this plane as well. Simply because the Hurricane isn't great at speed. It locks up pretty easily. And that's a big problem. So you've got to be very careful. Boom and zooming is what you want to do in this plane, but you've just got to be wary of your speed. Because if you boom and zoom too much, you are going to lock up and you're not going to pull out a bad dive. You can also rip wings. You've got to really use this plane quite smart. The other thing, of course, is you've got to float carby. So rolling is not a good idea all the time. You will have your engine cut out occasionally. So again, be a bit careful with that. You have got relatively okay speed. Not the best, but it's okay. Overall, this plane is pretty average. It's not the best plane out there, but it's not the worst for sure. Now these two DO-17s are having a bad day. As you see, all the sharks are picking at them. I'm going to go for the rear guard here. And we're coming in quite fast at quite a high angle. We want to try and get on target. We got a couple of hits there. I did some okay damage with my cannons, but we didn't get a kill. We did critical it though, so at least it's an assist for the day. But we want to get back in the sky, we want to get up high. We need energy in this thing, because everyone else is going to have more energy than us being higher, but they're also going to be faster and better at turning. The HE-100 is going to kick our ass in a turn fight. The good thing is, though, a lot of these planes... Sorry about that. Somebody came to my door, which is rare. I've forgotten what I was talking about now. Yeah, energy retention in this thing. You do lose energy pretty quickly, and as you see, there's an HE100 on. Well, you don't see it because I actually can't find the bugger. There is an HE100 that's got the dive on me, but luckily he pulls off. He hits my tail and damages it a little bit, but he pulls off. I could actually see him on my radar earlier on, and I was trying to find him, but I could not see him anywhere. He was directly above me, and he pulled a fantastic move on me. But he didn't do enough. And for some reason he disengaged, and I do not know why. In a turn fight he would have had me for sure, so he made a real mistake disengaging there. So now I'm on his 6 and I have better energy. Again, he could turn in under me here, but he's going to try and help the C200s over there. And the 202s. So I see what's happening, and I don't really want to get caught up in this cesspit, so I decide to do a little bit of a climb, get some of my energy back, because this plane does not retain it very well, so we want a little bit of energy left in there. Got a few rounds of cannon ammo left. Got about 20 or 30 rounds left at this stage. And we're going to try and help this P400 here. Now, this Hurricane is, as I said, in arcade I think it's quite popular, but in realistic battles this thing tends never to see the light of day. A bit like the Tempest with the same guns, although the Tempest does lack 707s, which does make a bit of difference. This thing at least has the 707 rounds. So these guys are busy on this P400. The C200 decides to turn. As soon as you get on target though, it's the end of the day for your enemy. Now I do run out of cannon ammo pretty much here. Got a head-on coming with this HE100, miss our rounds. We do get a couple of good little hits on him, but we are down to our 707s. But luckily, he is taken out by the Typhoon. So I'm keeping an eye on our 6s there, because there's a couple of Ju-87s. But the Typhoon has taken him out, which is good news. Really nice work from that Typhoon there, it really saved my day. And that's pretty much the end of this game, and the rest of this game now is just going back home and getting some repairs. So let's hop to another one. And we are back. And we're in a relatively low BR game here. A couple of Gladiators and some P-36 Hawks. And we are on the Korean map. We're facing the Russians here. So this will be a bit of a tough fight because they'll have I-135s. One of those planes that's really, really very good. Did I say 135? I meant to say 153s. You're generally not going to have too much trouble with the Yaks and MiGs and things like that. But the I-16s and I-153s are problematic for you. If you get in a turn fight with one of those, you're going to have a bad day. So you just want to avoid it as much as humanly possible. So the Vickers 40mm S cannon, it is a relatively big gun. It only has 30 rounds, 15 rounds per gun, which is not a lot. You've got a very low amount of ammunition in this plane, so you have to use it sparingly. The good thing is, though, that the 7.7mm Browning, the 303 round, you have almost 700 of those rounds on board, which makes a difference. You can sometimes trick people into thinking that you've fired your cannons by letting off a short burst. Of course, the cannon does have a bit of a reload time on it as well. It's not an auto cannon where it fires every round as soon as you press the button. It does take a couple of seconds to get the next round in the chamber. So you've really got to be sparing with the ammo and try to get it on target. If you hit anything with it, it's going to be the end of the day for that plane. You're going to rip its wing off with pretty much ease. Now, the Hawker Hurricane is one of those planes that, if you talk to anybody that's passionate about history, they will speak for hours and hours and hours about the Hurricane and the role it played during the Second World War. It's a bit of a strange plane. Because it was the plane that came before the Spitfire, it suffers a lot from the fact that the Spitfire got a lot of the glory. The Hurricane did a lot during the war, and it was one of the planes that did the grunt work. It did a lot of work, especially in Africa and over Europe. The Battle of Britain, for instance, the Hurricanes were flying night and day. 55% of the German losses were from Hurricanes alone. So the Hurricane was the workhorse, whereas the Spitfire was the thoroughbred. A German would come back to base and say, "Oh, our unit's been shot down by Spitfires," but generally, it was the Hurricanes that did the work. Although the Hurricane was not nearly as good as the 109, because it had thicker wings, it was a bit heavier, it was a bit dumpier, it was a little bit less power, it had a lot of problems conceived in it. It was still capable, and that's the main thing. One of the advantages of the Hurricane was the fact it was very easy to corkscrew dive in, which the BF-109s with their low roll rates found very hard to counter. This plane has got a very good roll rate, and that's one of the things you need to take advantage of sometimes. This plane is a very good roller. It suffers in pretty much every other area, but its roll rate is good. Now, the Hurricane saw service for many nations as well. It did a lot of work in Russia. It was the most numerous British aircraft the Soviet services used. The Soviets didn't really like it that much, because they found it inferior to the German planes, of course, but it was still a bit better than what they had at the time in most of their numbers. The Hurricane had a good service career, and really did a lot of good work. There are many aces of the Hurricanes as well, simply because they had such a long working period, and the biggest proponent of those aces were mainly the Polish pilots of 303 Squadron. The Polish loved this plane to death because they had been flying very outdated vehicles up until this point. It did make a very big difference having a decent Hurricane on board. So, in-game we do have a few different Hurricanes. Predominantly though, there's not... They don't tend to do great. As I said, they've got the good rockets on them. That does help a little bit, having the RP3s. The tropical version is pretty good. But you've got to know the limitations of a Hurricane. You can't throw it around like a Spitfire. You need to pick your targets wisely, and you need to pick your fights. Because if you dive into a massive cesspit of fighters, you're going to have a hard time. But if you pick a target that's a bit busy, engaged with somebody else, and not paying too much attention to you, you can get a good position. So we got this yak below us, and we're going to try and get on his 6. Now we're losing some speed and altitude. He's going to be pulling up. You see that beautiful roll rate? And there we go. Cannon to the wing, and it's the end of his day. So, take a breath, fly back to the sky, get some energy back in the plane, and get ready for another attack. You have to boom and zoom in this plane. If you're caught low in a turn fight, you're not going to have a good day. Now, the enemy played us a blinder here. The Allied pilots were very much in the let's just fly into a bunch of enemies and see what happens mindset. And surprisingly, we lost because of that. But we'll see what we can do here. Now, there's a couple of I-16s. Got an I-16 coming up here. Get a ping, and we get another wing on. Okay, so we're running out of cannon ammo. I have a 153 on my 6 now. So I'm going to start using that roll. Try and get him off me, and luckily I had the energy retained where I could get the climb. And I don't really suffer any damage. A few sort of scratches and scuffs, really. The Hurricane is a pretty durable plane because it, well, the frame had a lot of cloth work and wood on it. There were some Duramillion versions as well, but being that they were made of cloth and wood, they were very, very... Tries for a head on here, and we spin around him. This Yak 1 now is our juicy target. They were very easy to repair. Just missed that target there. And we're flying very close to the trees now. I've just run out of cannon ammo as well. So those are my last couple of cannon shots. Now I have the 153 on my 6 now, and I'm trying my best to jink. Also get him out. So I'm hoping that I can get him down. The 153 is going a bit fast. I managed to jink out the way, and luckily I've jammed his guns. So some good news there for me. I should have really pressed on with the attack here, but I was not risking getting in a turn fight with a 153. And that's really the end of the game. The rest of it is pretty much ground pounding and landing while losing the game because, well, our team didn't do very well in fighting. So I will cut the video here and say goodbye. So I hope you enjoyed this little bit of gameplay. Not the best gameplay you're ever going to see. I do know, but that's just my piloting skill. But it's a good little show of this plane. If a terrible pilot like myself can get kills in it, then anyone can. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed the video and have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks a lot for watching, and this is Screezilla out. Bye bye.